Welcome to Hope is Here, bringing hope to those struggling with life's difficult situations.
Welcome to Hope is Here. My name is GregJHorn, and we are continuing talking about running with the horses. And we're basing this off of Jeremiah chapter 12, verses 1 through 5. We're in a series this summer that we are naming Called, Broken, and Hopeful. Going through the book of Jeremiah, and we've been doing that on Mondays and Tuesdays. If you missed any of our programs, hope you go to our website, hopeisheretoday.org. That's hopeisheretoday.org, and listen to those or wherever you listen to podcasts. I also want to remind you that we do have a YouTube channel. I also want to plant that seed that we're in the middle of our summer matching gift program, that we're just so blessed that we have a supporter of Hope is Here that loves what God's doing through this ministry, and they'll match everything up to $10,000. Man, just so appreciate it. Hope you'll consider doing that. We started that back on July 1st, and it goes through August 31st. You can go to our website, hopeisheretoday.org, and make a safe, secure online donation. Or if you prefer to write a check, the mailing address is there. Just simply make your check out to Hope is Here. The good news is that all donations are tax deductible, and man, they are greatly appreciated. We only ask for your financial support twice a year, in the summertime here, in this July-August period, and then at December end of the year, and that's it. Another 9+ months we stay away from that, and we just do ministry. But if you could help us out and help us take advantage of this matching gift opportunity, we would greatly appreciate it. Well, I want to continue looking at running with the horses, and yesterday we laid the foundation of this about how God's made us for more, and He's calling us to run with the horses, as Jeremiah said it in chapter 12, verse 5. And I want to share 3 things with you today that I think we can learn from Jeremiah chapter 12, verses 1 through 5. The first one is, real faith is forged in the fire of hard questions. Real faith is forged in the fire of hard questions. I mean, verse 1 there, Jeremiah is just crying out to God. He says, hey, why are the wicked so prosperous? Why are evil people so happy? Well, I love Jeremiah's honesty there. I mean, he brings deep confusion and his frustration to God. Friends, I want to remind you, you can do that. God understands. He wants a real relationship with you. Okay, that's what's my favorite thing about being a follower of Jesus. Yes, is it called a religion? Christianity, there's different religions, but friends, it's so much more than a religion. It's a relationship, and that's why God came in the form of Jesus. Came in Christmas, we celebrate that every year, and then Easter, we celebrate His death, burial, and resurrection. Yet, once a couple months get past Easter or Christmas, we just kind of forget about that greatest act of love ever known to this world. But God wants you to keep it real, and part of having a relationship is keeping it real. Secondly, like many of us, life seems unfair, evil wins, and we grow weary. I got to ask you today, is that where you're at? Are you weary? Are you just saying, man, Greg, life seems unfair? Friends, that's where Jeremiah is at. That's why I love the Bible. It keeps it real, and I can relate to people like Jeremiah. But the best part of this passage here in verses 1 through 6 in Jeremiah chapter 12, the way God responds, He doesn't rebuke Jeremiah's questions. He redirects them. Say that again. God doesn't rebuke Jeremiah's questions to him. He just kind of redirects them. And once again, I'm thankful I had a father that he was so good at helping me redirect my thoughts when I was just kind of getting off course, and just kind of letting Satan get in my mind and really just get me discouraged. And so here's what I want to say to you today. Honest questions are not signs of weak faith, but of an engaged relationship. Say it again. Honest questions are not signs of weak faith, but of an engaged relationship. We're talking about running with the horses. Verse 5 says that if racing against mere men makes you tired, how will you race against the horses? Well, when the horse races, we obviously see those here at Keeneland, Churchill Downs. A jockey doesn't quit when the race gets tough as they're coming down the home stretch. You see pictures, they are leaning in on the horse and up on it, and, they are fully engaged for the challenge. And maybe for you today, you need to lean into Jesus. Or for some of you, you need to just get back in the saddle, get back in the game of life. And, if you want to ride in the horses, first thing you do, you got to get in the saddle. And some of you allowed the enemy because of disappointments in life, pain, heartache, wounds. Man, I get it. Oh, I get it, friends. But you know what? Don't let Satan win today. Say, not today, Satan. You're not going to win. You're not going to steal my joy. I was made for more, and I'm going to run with the horses today because God says he'll help me do that, just like he challenged Jeremiah chapter 12, verses 5 and 6. The second thing I think we can take away from these 6 verses, 1 through 6 in Jeremiah chapter 12, is that God calls us to the life that demands more. God calls us to a life that demands more. If he says there in verse 5, if racing against mere men makes you tired, God's not lowering the bar for Jeremiah. He's actually raising it. I'll say it again. God isn't lowering the bar for Jeremiah. He's actually raising it. And so I got to ask you today, when's the last time you challenged yourself in an area of your life? When's the last time you challenged yourself in an area of your life? It's easy to get comfortable. The number one selling recliner in the United States is the Lazy Boy. And, I think it's one of those things that I have to, and I go to work at a place called Stronger Life, and, it's one of those things. I don't play golf. This is an investment in my physical health, and I like it, and I pay a little extra because they have individual classes. They're designed by a physical therapist. They have a great coach in the room. I like doing them in a group of people, and maximum 20, and so it helps me grow. They make it stretch before we start, and then we cool down, and we do some stretching too, which I wouldn't do on my own. So it's been a great investment in my physical health to get there, try to get there 3 times a week. And recently, I hadn't been as much because I had tweaked my back a little bit, and I've been doing physical therapy for about a month. But it was a Saturday morning class, and we had one of the exercises we had to do. We had these 4 stations, but one of them, you picked up this thing called a slam ball. It's like a big, kickball, what it is, but they're weighted is the difference. They would be weighted, and they had 20-pound ball, 30-pound ball, 40-pound ball, all the way up to 80 pounds. Well, because of my back, I just started off with a 20. We had a warm-up round. Then we go through and did 5 more rounds after we got warmed up, after we'd stretched and all, then went through each of the stations. Well, the second time I went up to 30. Then I went to the 40-pound one, and I sit there and I looked across from me, and there was a lady that was doing 40 pounds also. Well, my manhood kicked in, with all due respect, ladies, and just thought, man, there's no way I'm letting the lady lift as much as me. And I was like, forget my back. And so I picked up a 50-pound ball and started doing that one. Then the 4th round, I did the 60-pound ball. And then the last round, I said, all right, I'm going to go big or go home. I'm going to challenge myself. And I picked up this 70-pound ball. You had to lift it up all the way over your shoulder, throw it down, then turn around and pick it back up, throw it over the other shoulder, and do that as many times as you could in 40 seconds. And, man, it was taking everything I had to get that 70-pound ball up over my shoulders and throw it over, and then pick it back, bend down and pick it up, throw it over the other shoulder. And, it made my back tweaked it a little bit. But you know what? I felt better because I challenged myself. And I know that's kind of maybe you may, that's a goofy example, Greg. And, that's okay. But I know for me that was a challenge that day, and I'm glad I did it. It made me feel encouraged, and I slept better that night. And maybe God's wanting you to do something simply as that, is challenge your physical health. The second thing I think we can learn from Jeremiah chapter 12, verses 1 through 5, is that following God is not the path of least resistance, it's the path of deepest purpose. Oh, that's so good. Following God is not the path of least resistance, it's the path of deepest purpose. I think God has got some incredible blessings for some of you that are listening or watching on our YouTube channel. But you know what? You're just really concerned about a little bit of discomfort. And anytime you're going to grow and I think find God's deepest purpose for your one and only life, it requires a little discomfort. There's a picture of a book. If you want to walk on the water, you got to get out of the boat, by John Ortberg. And man, I love that. It was a game changer for me in 2001. And, maybe you want to walk on the water, I got to remind you that you've got to get out of the boat, the comfort boat. Third thing I think that God calls us to a life that demands more is we want to run with the horses. We've got to live with grit, vision, courage, and endurance. I love Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. It says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And I've said this many times on Hope is Here, but you know what? I think Satan's greatest tool is discouragement. And so some of you think about quitting today, and I would encourage you not to give up. I saw a great video and encourage you to Google it. You look on YouTube. It's by Kara Lawson. She was, I think, a 3-time Olympian. She won a national championship when she played at the University of Tennessee. She's won 3 gold medals. And now she's a head basketball coach at the University of Duke, or Duke University for the women's team. So hard to like somebody that played for Tennessee in basketball and coaches Duke, right? But she has a great about 2.5-minute video talking about how to handle hard better, and that some of us need to stop waiting on the easy bus. And man, I just love that. And for some of you today, I think that's what God's calling you to say, hey, I want to help you handle hard better. And so I want to remind you today, friends, that you are not created for a life of spiritual mediocrity. You are made to run fast and free. Say that again. You are not created for a life of spiritual mediocrity. You are made to run fast and free. And the third and final thing I want to share with you from Jeremiah chapter 12, verses 1 through 5 is don't settle for a safe, small life. I mean, Jeremiah wanted to pull back. Verses 1 through 4, he's just complaining and just like, man, I can't do this anymore. But I love that God redirected him and he called him forward. It reminds you, Philippians chapter 4, verse 13 says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And, when we get weary, friends, we often want to withdraw. But God says, you're not done. You're just beginning. And if you're really tired, maybe one of the best things you can do is take a nap today. You're like, Greg, there's no way. Well, try to make a way, friends, or start going to bed or get 30 minutes more sleep tonight. I mean, quit watching those shows on Netflix, okay? Or you can wait on the evening news. You can get an update tomorrow morning. Go to bed earlier. Or a ball game. You don't have to wait till it ends. I mean, I've learned to do that, going to bed at halftime of basketball and football games that I really like. My favorite team might be playing. But you know what? I'm learning that my sleep's more important because when I get fatigued, I get discouraged. And so I just want to encourage you, man, to take care of your temple, get some rest, and not live a small, predictable life. I mean, I love what Wally Rendell, one of my heroes of the faith, says. If you still got a pulse, you've still got a purpose. And so God has a different plan, as we talked about this summer, for each of us in every season of life. And the final thing I want to close with you today is God invites you to run, not just exist. God invites you to love deeply, to serve boldly, and to live with integrity and impact. So friends, know today that you can bring your hard questions to God. He's not intimidated. You can train your soul through spiritual disciplines such as prayer, scripture, worship, listening to Hope is Here. You can step into challenges with courage. Don't opt out. Lean in. And I want to encourage you to live for more than comfort. And last but not least, surround yourself with other runners, other people that want to move forward. Life is a team sport. Jesus chose 12 guys as disciples to do life with him. And you can definitely run with the horses if you do that. We're out of time. If you've been blessed by this program, I hope you share it with somebody else. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you tomorrow. My name's GregJHorn, and this is Hope is Here.
Thank you for listening to Hope is Here podcast. To listen to one of our previous programs or to make a tax-deductible donation, please go to our website, hopeishere.today. That's hopeishere.today.